Hi there, my name's Linda Fisher, and I am from DevotedStamper.com. That's my blog. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I would like to show you how to make this beautiful Christmas card with a belly band. The belly band slides off, this part comes down, and this flips up to have 3 different places to write. So let's get started, and I'll show you the one we're making today. And we're not making this one because this paper is retired. Alrighty, the first thing you're going to need is a piece of smoky slate that's 7 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored it on the long side at 1 1/2. So you have that, and that's your card base. The next thing you're going to have is a piece of real red cardstock that's 5 1/4 by 4. And by the way, I'll have all these dimensions on my blog, so you don't need to write them down unless you absolutely have to. And I'm going to glue this real red to my piece of 7 by 4 1/4 smoky slate. And here we go. I'm going to do that. The next thing I have is a piece of Merry Moments Designer Series paper, which is 5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to glue that on top of my real red, which is on top of my smoky slate. So there you go with that. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to glue the real red cardstock and the Designer Series paper to the flap on the inside and the flap on the outside. So let me do that really quick. And this card is so much fun to make, and it is a true wow. I got mine at convention 3 years ago, and it's been a big hit in my classes, and so I thought I would share. Okay, this little red piece is 4 by 1 1/4. The same with here, 4 by 1 1/4. The Designer Series paper is 3 3/4 by 1. And we're going to lay that right on top. If you notice, everything's 1/4 of an inch smaller than the layer underneath it. So we have that. Let's see if I can get it straight. Okay. Next we need to put the part on here that flips up. I've got a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches long by 3 inches wide, and I scored it at 3 5/8 and 7 3/8. And I'm going to take my corner rounder, I'm going to take my corner rounder, and I'm going to round each of the corners for the part that's going to be at the top, not the part that's going to be glued to the card. So I'm going to fold this, and I'm going to fold this in. No, I have that wrong. We're going to... Do I have this backwards? How about if I do this? No, that's not right either. Now this gets glued to here. And this, there we go. This is how you do it. You glue this piece on the bottom, and then it will flip up like so. When you glue this to your base, you fold up your bottom piece, and you make sure that this piece right here is just barely under this flap, because if you don't, when you are carrying your card around, this thing will just flop open. So what I'm going to do is put adhesive on the bottom layer. Now, when you make this yourself, I suggest you use double-sided sticky tape because it will hold better, but I'm just using the snail because of the video. Now, I'm going to lay this here, and I'm going to center it and just put that right. Do I have that straight? There we go. I'm going to put that in the center. Okay, so now... Okay, Linda, you can do this. Alright. Okay. So now this won't come open. Alright? So we have that. Now we need to decorate the inside. So what I've done is I used a piece of Merry Moments designer paper, which is 2 3/4 by 3 3/8. And I'm going to put that in my middle panel, right like that. I'm going to use another piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 3 3/4 by 3 3/8, and I've rounded the corners to match this corner up here. And I'm going to put adhesive on here, and I'm going to put that down. I have stamped this piece of cardstock with stamps from Endless Wishes, which is right here, a beautiful Christmas stamp. And I'm going to put another piece at the bottom that's also been stamped with words from Endless Wishes. And so now I'm almost finished the inside. Now I took a piece of red glimmer paper and I used the framelit from Wonderful Wreath, and I cut that out, and I'm going to glue that in here with our new felt tip glue pen. And this is wonderful because it doesn't get clogged up. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little glue on the back of here and lay this down. It takes a few minutes for it to dry. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to lay this just like that. Isn't that beautiful? So when you open your card, you see the words joy. Okay, next, we need to decorate the front of our card. So what I'm going to use a frame from Hearth and Home Framelits. It's this. And these are fantastic. You get the window frame and the window box and the window frame. And they're only $20. And next, I'm going to take the stamp from, I used Happy Scenes. I'll take the stamp from Happy Scenes, Celebrate the Season, and I'm going to stamp the bottom of my window frame. And these photopolymer are wonderful because you can see totally through them. So, I've stamped it a little crooked, but that's okay. It's a handmade card. I'll put that away. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my piece of cardstock that's 2 3/8 by 3, and I'm going to glue that behind my window frame. And I'm going to put a little adhesive across the edge of this. You can also use glue dots, which are fantastic. And I'm just going to put that down right there. And if this was on a card, I would use dimensionals, but I don't want dimensionals with my belly band I'm going to be putting on here. So now I'm going to glue this to my card front. You see how this is coming together so nicely? Okay, I have that on there. Alright, now it's time to make the belly band. The belly band is made by using, this is what it's going to look like. This was our bow. I'm sorry. We're going to make the belly band and we're going to put a bow on it. If you notice, I have a bow on here. So the first thing you do to make the bow, you take a piece of cardstock that's 7 1/4 by 1. And I'm going to use my wonderful envelope punch board. And I'm going to take the ends, and I've already done this, but I want to show you how I did it. I slid this in to the end of the envelope punch board. There's a small opening, and I punched. And then I flipped it over, and I punched. Next, I need to make these little indentations. So I'm going to put this in my envelope punch board and line the corner with the 1/2 inch mark the 1/2 inch from the right, and I'm going to punch. Now I'm going to slide it down to the 3.5 inch mark, and I'm going to punch. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing. 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches. Next, I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to do the same thing all over again. 1/2, and then flip it around and do 1/2. And now it looks like it's starting to look like a little bow. So to make your bow, you want to use your bone folder, and you want to soften the fibers in the cardstock so it'll fold better. This bow is best made using all glue dots. So what I've done, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to stick it to the middle part of the bow where the indentations are. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. You always take, not always, but 99% of the time, you take the paper to the glue dot, not the glue dot to the paper. And now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it to the middle of my bow. I'm going to fold this back. Then I'm going to take this piece and stick it to the middle of my bow, and I'm going to fold this back. Well, these are going to flop, so I don't like that, so I'm going to put a glue dot here and hold this down like so, and I'm going to put a glue dot here. Oops, came apart. And then I'm going to hold this down. Now you need something to put around the middle to hide all of this, and I'm going to use a tiny, tiny little piece that's 1/8 inch wide piece of Merry Moments Designer Series paper, and I'm going to use a glue dot is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a glue dot on the end of this, and I'm going to put it behind in the back of the bow. I'm going to wrap the paper around the bow, and I'm going to cut that off because I made it too long on purpose, because I didn't know exactly how much paper I would need to wrap it around, and another glue dot, and there's your bow. So now we're going to make the belly band. The belly band is made with a piece of cardstock that is 3/4 by, I'm sorry, I'm butting in front of the camera, 3/4, and I cut mine at 10.5 inches, and that is too, you won't need this much, but I didn't want to be short. So what you do, you don't do any scoring, you lay this on the front of your card, and you wrap this around, and you wrap it around. And so now you have your score lines that you've made all by yourself. This, let me see, we need to put this on here first. I'm going to glue this down. This is the Designer Series paper that covers my belly band. Okay. And there's several ways to do this. You can wrap the Designer Series paper around it so it gets the fold. You can do what I did, which is fold it first. And then I'm going to soften the fibers. Now I'm really liking how this is coming out. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this up. I'm going to fold this around and fold that around. And if I was doing this not in front of the video, oh, I do have my double-sided tape. My handy assistant just handed it to me. This is Stampin' Up's wonderful double-sided tape, and it's called Tape and Tear, and it works beautifully. So I taped it, I tore it, and now I'm going to peel it. And I don't like you to have to sit and watch me peel, but it's just not cooperating. Okay. Alrighty. Any other time, this would peel right off. There's 1, 2. Now I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to wrap this around. And then I'm going to put that right like that. Okay. Now I'm going to use my glue dots again. And I'm going to put one here. And another one on the back. See what, if you can see where I put them. And I'm going to glue that right down here. And my last, one of my last things I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bow. I made a bow out of the silver glimmer paper. I also used the wonderful wreath framelits. And I'm going to use my two-way glue pen, my Tombow liquid glue to put my bow on the top of my window, like that. And my last thing is I'm going to use my two-way glue pen, and my dazzling diamonds that I keep in a salt shaker. And I'm going to dab my snowflakes a little bit, just a little bit here and there, down here, and I'm going to sprinkle this on here. I do this last because it takes a few minutes to dry, and if I do it first and then I try to stick it on, it gets everywhere, and that just gives it a little bling, a little more bling. And here you have your Christmas card with the belly band. Slide the belly band off. We'll just show you one more time. Flip it down. You can also stamp some beautiful words here. And then flip this up, and there's your joy. And wouldn't you love to get a Christmas card like that? We're all finished, so thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video to make the belly band Christmas card.